Yo, what's the deal, fam? Let's get to it. Ghostface Ironman album, track by track breakdown.
Hey, yo, Eeze!
First track, Iron Maiden, beats and bars, no hook. Opens with a dialogue setting scene from a movie. 70s superheroes opening credits is the first thing that comes to mind when I think of this production. Ghostface vivid storytelling. I believe the hook, in my opinion, is money. I like the hook a lot. For whatever reason, to this present day, that Cappadonna line when he said, every evening I have a by myself meeting, jumps out at me. I don't know why. It's very simple. It's not over the top, but it's just something I can kind of like relate to, man. Next track, Wildflower. Simple production, muffled kick, but brightened by the shaker or hi-hat. And it has like a string riff in there as well. Chords on the 1 and 3. Always leaves space for the artist, man. That's one thing RZA does, man. Always leaves space for the artist. Ghostface kind of reflects on his childhood, family dynamics, and personal growth. Gritty storytelling. Ghost was blacking on this. Can't even front on him. He was definitely blacking on this. Out the gate, anger, hostility. Sounds like he's having an argument, but the replies from the other person is being muted. Crazy. Next track, The Faster Bleed. RZA production features what appears to be a 2 to 3 finger chord, a bass stab hitting on the 1, airy kick and snare. That's fire. I think I hear like a dark ride cymbal in the mix as well. Intense delivery goes very well with the aggressive yet melodic production as far as the lyrics go. Raekwon, the chef, man, he lost his mind on this, man. So many memorable lines. Flow and cadence is A1. I have to say, 95, 96 Ray, he was in rarefied air. Very few people reached that peak. Most definitely was in a different stratosphere. Next track, 260. Turn Ray's vocals up is the first thing that comes to mind, but we'll get to all of that. RZA's production incorporates soulful samples from the icon Al Green, smooth vocal riff, settled organ and horns. Ghostface, he paints a detailed picture of what is witnessed in his daily life, ambition and survival. Ray sounds so comfy on his beat. Maybe it's the tone, but once again, his vocals are too low. But that's one thing about like a lot of Wu projects early on. It was almost as if it wasn't so much about seeking perfection, more so than the feeling that they try to disperse to the audience. That's why we feel so connected to some of these albums, in my opinion. Next track, Assassination Day. Production, off kilter just a bit, 4-bar loop, led by, I believe that's a keyboard, like a Wurlitzer sound, turntable scratches, and unquantized drums. Unquantized meaning that you're not allowing the drum machine to make it sound perfect or robotic. You know, it sounds very natural. Opening the song is consistent greatness. Inspectah Deck, that is. Anytime he opens up a song, you can expect him to drop 50. RZA's verse is crazy. I like that a lot. Salute the Master Killah as well. Ray, once again, ladies and gentlemen, was doing his thing. Son was blacking, man. Shout out to Raekwon, man. What really jumped out to me as well, I would love to have heard Ghost on this particular track. Being absent on records on your solo debut album doesn't make much sense, but it's a good song either way, but that's a bit odd. It's a bit odd, man. Next track, Poisonous Darts. I like the selection of the drums. Clean, but not very punchy or airy. Adds a fire dynamic when played along with the other elements, or high energy elements, I should say. Energetic and aggressive flows over a gritty backdrop. When it comes to just rapping, how many MCs are just truly better than Ghost? Let's be honest. Just rapping. We take all the other elements or attributes out of the equation. When it comes to just rapping, Ghost is a different animal, man. I don't know why, but whenever I hear this song, I feel like ODB would have bodied this. Even if it was just, I don't know, like a vocal riff when he's just singing and just adding his personality to a track. I don't know why I always hear ODB on that. Let's move on to Winter Wars. Ah, man. All-star collaboration. You got New God. You got Master Killah, Cappadonna on there. From listening, it sounds like sleigh bells. There's a hi-hat, got the sloppy snare, thumping kick, simple chord with an occasional synth sound. Each member delivers in their own unique way. Distinct verses, showcasing Wu-Tang's synergy. I must say, everybody came to ball, everybody showed up to the game, but Cappadonna first, ladies and gentlemen. Not much I have to say after that. This Cappadonna's verse. Box in Hand is the next track. When it comes to song intros, hear me out, song intros, and going totally left, how a song starts from the production and then where it ultimately ends up, I don't think anyone does it better than RZA. Some may be on the same level, but I don't think anyone does it better in that sense. And this song happens to be another example. He used the nastiest single minor chord, and he made it sound so musical. Drum heavy production. RZA's different. When it comes to presence on the record, Meth has always been one of the greatest ever. It's like an elite tier. He just brings the energy to any track, whether it's something like this or a ballad. Like, Meth is who he is, man. Fish is the next track. 3 fire verses, but Chef, in my opinion, his verse was truly special. Ray was out here blacking. He seemed so comfy, once again, during this time period. Truly special, special gift or talent or rhythm that he tapped into. Salute the Tru Master. Soul, great blend of samples, punchy drums, effective bass line that's not overplayed, fire production. In typical Wu's fashion, it's not about perfection or the technical aspect. It's about a feeling. Some of the vocals are not mixed well, Cappadonna's in particular. You hear the difference when Ray verse comes on, and that it sticks out like a sore thumb, but those are technical things. And we've been accustomed to that since Wu's first album, right? It was never perfect mix-wise, but it's the feeling. Just wish the skit wasn't there. I'm not a big fan of the skit being on the same track as the actual song. I think it should be separated, but that's just me nitpicking probably. I'm not sure everyone else thinks that way. Ghost and Cap, once again, vocals are too low, but it's very noticeable once again when Ray's vocal comes on. Let's go to the next track, Cam A. Okay, how can I put this? I was never really a big fan of the song. It seemed disjointed from a song point of view. Not to say it's a bad or one of the worst songs ever. It's just something that it's probably one of my least favorite songs on here, you know? I believe RZA's like playing live bass on it, from what I can gather. It could be a sample. He also veered off and switched up the foundation, essentially breaking up the monotony, right? So I respect the subject matter, relations, interactions. Doesn't feel like it was executed very well, in my opinion. Thought it could have been better. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I could be wrong though. We go ahead and learn from each other. Let me know what you think. Daytona 500. Now, this is not my favorite song off the album, but this is the song that comes to mind when I think of this album, right? Reminiscent of like when Nori dropped his debut album, when Band from TV was playing everywhere. This was like Daytona 500 was the same way. Everywhere I went, this song was playing. Everybody was playing Daytona 500 in all environments. Salute to Bob James. Anyone that does beats or produces or hip-hop head, Nautilus is the sample that was used on here. It was sampled many times, and another classic record was made using it. Let's move on, y'all. Motherless Child. Soul, gospel meets hip-hop. RZA's sequencing on the instrumental is phenomenal. That's how you make a loop sound like more than it really is. You know, that's production, man. We'll call that formatting. That reverb on Ghost's vocal is money. Let's move on to Black Jesus. You God. That's a clutch verse. He was spitting on that. Salute to You God. The Blackbird's vocal sample is money, especially when paired with the up-tempo drums. The snare and tambourine pairing, layered together, adds a dope dynamic as well. Possibly, could be my favorite on the album. Reflective. It's just an overall good song. It's a tight song. After the Smoke is Clear. To this day, I'm still astonished at how RZA is able to keep it simple, but repeatedly keep it simple, I would say, but it doesn't sound incomplete, if you get what I'm saying. So he has minimal elements from time to time, but yet the track doesn't sound incomplete, which is a testament to his ability to make space for the rapper or the artist or whomever is on the track. Everyone can't do that. That's an ear, you know, and that snare is so gritty. I love Ray's opening to his verse and those clean and intentional vocal punches as well, man. Like, that's money. After the smoke is clear, let's move on to All That I Got Is You. Everyone knows this, right? I remember this used to play repeatedly on New York radio. Yes, even at a song this tempo was getting heavy radio play. It's a very well written song, from the verses, chorus, performance as well, and the music. But to be honest, at this particular stage in life, or not just now, years past as well, I've kind of skipped this record. Not to say it's a bad record. I just have to be in the mood to listen to it. I think someone mentioned that in my comment. I don't know which video it was, that you have two different types of skips. Like, you can have a bad record skip or a mood skip. And this meets that criteria. It's a mood skip. I have to be in the mood to listen to this particular song. That's All That I Got Is You, featuring Mary J. Blige. Let's move on to a song I believe that was removed from the actual track list. Because even if you go on streaming sites, I was like, where's the record? But that would be The Soul Controller. Reflective, introspective tone, production is knocking, and it sounds like a mesh of many different genres. We got soul, hip hop, and classical, from what I'm gathering. When he had that strumming from the acoustic guitar during like the Ghost second verse, I think that's the Ghost second verse, yes. That was fire. The vocals sound so clean and at home over this production. It's sad that this is no longer like featured on the re-releases or streaming sites. Probably because of the samples, noticeable samples, but especially if you're dealing with something like Sam Cooke, right? But this particular song should have ended the album. It should have, but things happen, right? Sample clearances. But the last track that we know at the present time is Marvel. Cool song, but once again, I don't feel like this should have been the ending or the closing of the album. Distinct Wu sound, bass stabs, female vocal sample, simplicity, room for artists to breathe, but it feels out of place in the sequence, because once you are accustomed to something else closing out the album and then it's no longer there, it kind of throws things off. But for the true heads and those who had the opportunity to hear it the way it was intended to be released, we're going to judge it by that. Takeaways. I'm not a fan, once again, of skits being on the actual track or the same track as the music or the song. I think those should be separated. Tons of inconsistencies with vocal volumes and mixing. Another thing, one last thing, like listening to it this time around, I'm asking myself, was this album built around the skits, or were the skits used as glue to bring the album together? Maybe you know, let me know. And lastly, my last question is Ghostface Ironman. Everyone seems to love this album now, but back then, did you consider it to be great or a classic album? Or have you learned to appreciate it as time went on? Let me know in the comment section. It's your man Eeze at TheEezeExperience. Go get yours. Yeah.
Hey yo,